Growth Rubric. And today we have our esteemed guest, Arjun. Arjun, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Nathan. Hi, I'm Arjun, based in Seattle right now, building Orcana AI, transforming about 15 years of analytics and data science experience, both in consulting and in-house data science teams, learnings into a product that can help make data-driven decisions. The mission that we're after is to help businesses close the gap between operating plan and actuals through hallucination-free and reliable data-driven insights and actions. So it should be agentic data science platform to help make faster decisions to improve business operations.
Folks who are just joining, Arjun is talking about his company, Orkana, and we are going to dive a little bit deeper into his motivation behind Orkana and where he came about building it out. So, Arjun, if you don't mind sharing some of your thoughts, like your journey up until now.
Absolutely. For about 10 years of the 15 years career was in consulting setup where I was helping business teams both from sales, marketing, growth understand what should their strategy be given their data. What channels are working in marketing? Where should they optimize their spend? Why is Salesforce effectiveness declining? Are they reaching the right customers at the right time with the right message, etc.? So the goal was to just translate all of this information from rows and columns into a story and eventually an actionable strategy. As a result of doing this, I always saw a large gap between data and decisions. And I was bridging that gap, me along with maybe 100,000 data scientists, analysts in the world, trying to do this for the business teams. And this basically urged me to think of a scalable way to bridge this gap because business users had more questions that they were ever getting answers to. And with every answer, they would want to have like a follow up to really understand what exactly is that action lever that they should go after, because that doesn't come really that well. Things were intuition driven, semi data driven, etc. It used to keep reminding me of this parable that talks about six blind men and an elephant, where they're just trying to figure out what is this elephant, and everybody comes up with their own siloed ways of identifying what the problem is. Someone's looking at the trunk and calling it a snake, someone's looking at the tail and calling it something else, so on and so forth. So I realized so many of these silos exist within a company, and hence make data-driven decision making is broken. And that's what I want to fix using Orkana.
Yes, we see it all the time, especially in larger organizations, as you have silos, not only for teams, but also data. And then that leads to a disjoint view of what the problem is indeed and how do you go about solving. And folks can spend a lot of time digging deeper into what's really the underlying cause. And that means a month gone by for medium-sized businesses to really unravel the mystery while the world has moved on. And so Orkana comes in the picture here to solve that problem in a jiffy. So tell us, what really motivated you to leave this corporate life and start your company? Was there a moment that was like aha moment that you needed to build this on your own terms?
So the aha moment was the high number of fire drills that came my way. Monday mornings, metric declines, and there is at least 3 to 5 pings from directors, my direct managers, so on and so forth, asking, hey, why did this decline? Mondays that start like that almost made me want to call in sick, saying, hey, I know the drill. I know that I have to go through these 25 data sources, see if spend came in, see if revenue was reported, was there another issue in the data setup, was there a campaign we pushed? There were like these 20 things that I had to like diligently do before saying, hey, this is the answer. And that 20 things sometimes took 2 days, sometimes it took a week. And all the other exciting projects that I would have probably been working on are put on the back bench because this is exactly what the leadership is looking for at the moment. The number of times I saw this and I found myself doing the same things, turning this stone around, turning that stone around, etc. I was like, can I build a product that can help just crawl through this and come back saying what moved the most, what really could be the hypothesis? And that was really the agenda or the first pain point that I wanted to address, where there is high sense of urgency from the leadership that's probably steering the ship. Getting an answer is with so much pressure to on the data scientists and analysts in a very cohesive manner. But because everything is high pressure, you look at the first possible indication of why things are changing and you translate that into a story saying, this is what we believe is happening, but there may be at least two other layers deeper reasons because of which this effect is showing. So you get the answer, but you get a half-baked answer. You're always stressed about it, and it's like a inefficient experience and a bad one for almost everyone involved. So that was my aha moment where I was like, I've seen this so many times. I have built these tiny accelerators myself, and I'm like, hey, if I think spend is an issue, these are the three tables I run, queries I run, this is how I see, etc. And then I was like, eventually, with the advent of AI, questions can be unlimited. The way to answer these questions can still be like structured and limited. And that's the layer of abstraction which eventually uses AI to translate a need into what to do. And then our engine, in-house engine that we've built, actually does the math the way I would have done it. So that's how we have translated like all our learnings into a really impactful data science agent, and hence the platform eventually to answer this pain point. So yeah, fire drills is what gave me the chills, and I hope doesn't happen to the world because it doesn't need to be that way.
I've seen it all. I've been in your shoe in different companies, and everywhere I look at, it is the same problem. We are all marching towards data-driven decision making. Everybody wants that, but the challenge is it is really a lot of data to go through. It's just not possible for humans to do it diligently and precisely. And this is where Orkana comes in. It's a fully automated solution. You ask it a few questions, it's got the view of entire data platform and it gives you a quick answer. So kudos to you for building and solving one of the most difficult problems we all face in the corporate world. Data decision are hard and you're trying to solve it.
Thank you, Ratan. Yeah.
So what are some of the customer transformations have you undertaken for your clients? Give us a flavor.
So I'll probably share two kind of customer problems that we're currently solving. The first is enabling a telecom enterprise company digital marketing team meet their operating plans. They start the year with saying, this is how much I'm going to spend across these many accounts, 70 countries, and this is what I want to generate revenue wise. From new customers, keep churn to this level, so on and so forth. Now, as that starts, you see that digress between what the actuals are versus what the annual operating plan is. Mostly, there are maybe 7 things that are interplaying with each other to eventually cause this gap to keep increasing. Not being able to identify that gap on a consistent level makes them do that guesswork. So what we are doing as Orkana's solution for them is with the end goal to help the digital marketing team for the accounts that Orkana is deployed for, bridge that gap. Get it as close to our annual operating plan as possible by knowing that, you know what, this is what you're spending, but these campaigns have stopped responding after this time. Change your spend here. This particular network or country has a user flow problem. So even if you're acquiring, they're not able to sign up. So stop this. Churn is going up because of whatever reasons. There are some other, maybe a low balance error happened everywhere else, etc. So many metrics, so many campaigns and countries, and it's kind of spray and pray at the moment. And we were like, let's build this structured way of answering this. We'll keep you giving you spend recommendations for large changes, make tiny tweaks ourselves as a part of Orkana's product so that their portfolio, optimizing the portfolio in an effective manner, and eventually getting more bang for the buck and helping them meet their plans, right? So that's like the first use case, which is goal oriented. Our success criteria is, hey, how close to the plan can you get using Orkana when compared to similar accounts where we have not deployed Orkana? We love the problem statement. We're like, yes, this will probably be a very good case study to eventually say that we have been able to move the needle. And we got this problem statement as a result of actually doing a 2-month free POC where we were able to show a 600% ROI. So we were charging about X dollars to the client, and we were like, without making any changes, if you just follow Orkana's recommendations, you would have generated 6x of that amount that you're spending on a solution like us. So you're already like
The
almost
ROI is huge.
immediately saving money and improving your business performance. So that's like the exciting part. That's one setup. The other is to help, say, business users who are probably far from everything data and as close to human interactions as possible. Sales reps. So sales reps really want to understand, say in the pharma space, want to understand what are my physicians writing? What kind of questions do they have? Which kind of patients are they prescribing? What kind of drugs? When was the last time this patient, I spoke to this physician? What is in this physician's mind so that they can be able to think about our product most? A plethora of unstructured and structured data. Now, all of this has to be assimilated into really bite-sized ways of the consumer, the rep, in this case, sales rep, to get this so that they have like a very impactful interaction with the customer. So that's our second goal, where we're like, let's empower all sales reps without having to look at six dashboards and guesswork a story, to bring all of that to say, here is what you need to say. This is a two-way voice enabled agent. Talk to this agent while driving into the physician's towards the physician's office. Once you're out, share your call log saying, this is what you talked about, this is what the physician wanted, here are my next steps. Send an email, send a sample, drop a sample, so on and so forth. And get away from everything data, because what you are actually looking for is the story and what you can do with it to make the better impact. So these are like the two kind of exciting problem statements, one in telecom space, one in pharma space, that we are currently really nailing.
It sounds like, I mean, this could be applied even to, I would say, I mean, most companies have data warehousing where their ultimate, plan of data is, I would say, kosher data is finally sitting and collecting dust. Would your solution sort of go and tap into that data and drive meaningful outcomes?
Yeah, it does. The way we are setting it up is to keep it very intentional. So we have like a customer onboarding setup, which is a way for Orkana to really understand what drives the business, what things can it see, what things it shouldn't see, what each metric means. So there is like a 2 to 4 week window. And if a new data set is exposed that Orkana is supposed to analyze, we sit in the middle to say, you know what, before Orkana analyzes, we want to make sure Orkana is able to talk to this data source with the right level of context. So we jump in, yet to be fully self-serve, and hence we want to be involved so that we productize that admin aspect of it. But yes, to your point, yes, a lot of these data sources are currently sitting, and we can just, it currently has the capability to run one metric map analysis to come back and say, you know what, these data sets are just sitting there in your data warehouse, but they have these metrics. If calculated this way, can be a leading indicator for a metric that you're currently seeing, so on and so forth. So it can generate that hypothesis. Then we come in, we set it up based on what the business use case is, and then we put more old use data sources to work and increase utility of their entire amounts of data that they're saving.
Yeah, that would certainly open up your tab in the market. The use cases are plenty. The pain is everywhere, especially medium to large organizations where you have ton of data that is, collecting dust, and it's just not humanly possible to view all of that data and come up with good suggestions on how to improve business, how to improve metrics of performance, and so on. And so I think the TAM is huge here. How do you sort of differentiate your product as you venture into this very competitive AI landscape? I talk to a lot of startup companies, and I've been part of a few myself. And so everywhere I see there is an AI solution emerging up. What do you say for our audience? How would you differentiate your product in this space?
So there are two kinds of universes out there with respect to agentic solutions for data science or analytics. The one is what most of the world is building, which is end-to-end Gen AI based or end-to-end agentic, which basically means a question or a data trigger comes. LLMs are employed to identify what that means, get all the context to identify what to do with it, write the code that needs to eventually run for analysis, run the analysis, get the response. Now, the more complicated the user question or the more complicated the analysis needed, on the fly code generation has like a really low accuracy rate, maybe 70%, if it's like 100 lines of code, because of a lot of things. First, pick physicians, put these filters, identify these segments, then run these three analyses, and then get the answer. Right? Every time the number of questions or the number of steps goes up, accuracy falters. As a result of all of this being a compounding error effect, you get maybe 50 or 55% accuracy for really meaningful questions which the world needs answers for. And currently, data scientists and analysts are the only way to go about it. What we do is we are doing horses for courses kind of a approach, where we're like, Gen AI is great at natural language ability. It's great at unstructured reasoning. So let questions or data triggers come in. Let's use this layer of AI to identify what exactly is the situation given the customer's business, industry, etc., and then translate that into a plan that is very deterministically executed by an in-house engine that we've built. Now, this is a translation of a lot of these accelerators I've built over the last 15 years to say root cause. These are the 25 types of things that we can do on a root cause. This kind of a thing, do these aspects, etc., etc. Now, once that is set, it's logic driven. So identify what the question is, what needs to be done to a decent extent. Everything else is like a fully deterministic workflow. Just the response that needs to be translated into a story is again where AI comes in. So that way, almost One of the most complicated yet frequent data science problems can be set in a box that we completely control, and always gives deterministic results. And that makes our reliability almost 100%, makes almost zero scope for hallucination, because most of the places where it just like drops a business rule or picks two metrics instead of one, etc., is doesn't exist, because there's no code on the fly generation happening for advanced analytics use cases. So that's how we're different. And that difference purely then has helped us get the kind of problem statements we're getting. So if someone's giving us the charge to say, go update spend numbers, make sure that these spend numbers get us closer to annual operating plan, they should have trusted basic analytics enough for them to say, you know what, now go and take the actions because your stories make sense. Same's the case with reps. They have no way to validate what really is the data. So they should have full accuracy when they're reading a story, to not double check on the story, but think about what to talk to the physician about. For both of these, like the most underlying strongest principle is reliability, repeatability, no hallucination. And that's what differentiates us from the world. And that shows in the kind of deals we're getting too. Like most customers are in the world who are giving hallucination free Gen BI products are probably charging about maybe $20 a seat, $25 a seat, etc. We don't do that kind of pricing. We are deploying an embodiment of a data scientist that can also run business operations based on your guidelines for a use case. So this is an infinitely giving growth marketing data scientist. It's a principal level skill sets because it can do forecasting, all of these, and hence we charge for that use case. Have 10 people use it, have 25 people use it, it's okay, because most of this code generation is happening in-house. Code generation is coming from our in-house repository, and we're able to charge based on outcomes, or like a really high value with around six figures for use cases where others are like, oh, we can give you answers to which is my best territory, which is my smallest territory, which is BI, for $20. So we're in a totally different league with respect to the kind of problems we're solving, and the world is starting to see that. They're starting to see that this is not a co-pilot which is sitting on Power BI, but this is a true data scientist that is built and customized based on the business, based on during the onboarding time, and then it actually functions to deliver the insights that need some action to be taken around it. So yeah, I know, long answer, but differentiation is a pain given the crowded industry.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes it is imperative that folks understand the entire picture behind the scene as to how you go about making the product so unique, such that it really solves their problem very accurately. Like you said, repeatability and reliability and no hallucination, right? That's a dream outcome. Arjun, I think we're coming to a tail end of our podcast. Where can your customers find your company if they want to reach out?
Arjun at Orcana.ai. That's my email. Feel free to shoot any questions, any curiosity, anything to jam around analytics, data science, and AI. Our website is Orkana.ai. Straightforward, and we are on LinkedIn as well. Search for Orkana.ai and you can find me there. Find our company page there. So yeah, excited to learn more about any questions that you may have.